Hello, everybody. If you like wild people, you are going to love this episode because we got Eric Andre, and it's like a big boulder that just starts rolling and rolling and going faster and faster by the end of this episode. It's like an out of control wild ride. Oh my God. It gets crazy. So strap on your seatbelts and let's do it. Ladies and gentlemen, Eric Andre. Yeah, dude. And I want to introduce to you my co-host, Scott
Nice.
Randolph.
Wow, right off the bat. Look at that.
First
How
time
you
I've
doing,
ever done
Scott?
that.
Thank you. How you doing, Eric?
Good.
Have you guys ever met?
Never met in person.
No, what's up, my man?
Not much. I like your
Glorious
shirt.
King.
Are those parrots?
Yeah,
That's some South Florida Boca Raton shit right there, huh?
that's what I'm talking about. Are you from Boca, Steve, or your parents live there? Or
I'm not from anywhere, man. I grew up all over the world, 5 different countries to be precise, but Florida was home base.
where did you go to high school?
I went to high school in England, London, England.
Where were you born?
I was actually born in England as well, but spoke my first words in Brazil in Portuguese. So I went to nursery school in Venezuela speaking Spanish. I went to kindergarten in Darien, Connecticut. First grade through half of fourth in Miami. Then moved to England when I was 9, Canada when I was 12, and back to England for all 4 years of high school.
So why do people tell me you're from Boca?
Mom divorced dad and moved to Boca Raton.
Okay, so you got family in Boca.
Right, I should have just said that. Yeah, I got family there because fucking, it's not about me, dude. It's not about, but I mean, it's worth asking. You probably get asked all the time. How does a 700-year-old Jewish woman fall in love with a guy from Haiti?
My parents met during a rent strike in 1970. My dad was escaping a dictator in Haiti in 1969, 1970. This guy named Duvalier, and moved to Manhattan with his brother, and met my mom during a rent strike in Manhattan, and then they fucked.
A rent strike, huh? They weren't happy with what they were being performed or paid to perform in the musical Rent?
No, there was like the water was coming out brown out of the tap. I don't know. It was the
got it.
70s in New York. It was all chaotic.
Why couldn't I have just
Son
said
of Sam.
that
That was funny.
cleanly?
That was really
I had to
good.
fucking mumble it.
I like the stumble, like
You caught him off guard.
like
Yeah.
an old jalopy.
Right, yeah, okay.
I thought that was
All right.
hilarious. So were you ever able to ride the Sibian on the Howard Stern show while you ate Viagra?
I sure did. I'm glad you asked. Yes,
Yeah,
I was. And you know what? The Viagra didn't really do it for me. I didn't get fully erect. You done Viagra, Steve-O?
have I done? I've done Cialis, and it didn't do that much for me.
You
Does
took
that
4
violate
pills,
the terms
dude.
of your sobriety since it's not psychoactive?
I wouldn't consider that a sobriety issue. No.
It's only psychoactive.
It's a
stuff,
dick
right?
issue, not a sobriety
Yeah,
issue.
it's not shoulders and up. But you know, the pill that I would be after, if I was after a dick pill, it would be the one to make me not come so fast.
Oh, you're a fast jizzer.
I mean, historically, yeah. You know, like if I was dealing with strange, then you know what? I'm gonna have
We'll
to
cut
tell
that.
Lux she can't fucking listen to this one. She didn't like that.
Don't they make those premature wipes? I've seen like.
Yeah, premature wipes.
You ever thought about trying those?
I don't have to worry about it anymore because I'm in a committed relationship, you know, and we do great. But
Do you ever come too quick in the relationship?
nah, like we're in a rhythm. We're in a rhythm. Are you in a relationship these days?
Yes, I am. And I come very slow. I'm like, you know, when you're out of, like, at the end of the jar of honey and it just slowly oozes out.
All right.
That's how slow my ejaculate is released.
Okay, good
urethra.
man. Now, there's of course the Netflix special, and that's why I called your mother a 700-year-old Jewish woman. You say
Yep.
that in the special. Pretty aggressive stuff in there. I really like the open.
Sorry.
You know, the whole intro. You got this on Bourbon Street. You're dressed up as a cop falling out of a cop car with a bunch of beer bottles and all drunk
Yep.
and pulling out drugs everywhere. It's a good time. And all the way through to the end, you've got people simulating sex on stage. Is that something that you would do like on the whole tour, or did you just do that special for the taping?
Well, I didn't do a hidden camera prank as a cop.
Understood. I mean the stuff that was on
Every
stage.
city, that's
the
how
couple,
you got to the show.
the old white couple coming out.
Yeah.
No, that was just for the special. So for the tour, I just had like a throwaway joke, like, your parents are here right now, come on out. And then towards the very end, my assistant like reminded me, he's like, weren't you gonna get like 2 elderly actors to come out and play fool the audience into thinking they're his actual parents? And I was like, oh shit, I totally forgot about that. So last minute, I called my producer and we're like, let's cast 2 like boomers to like gratuitously French kiss somebody in New Orleans matched that description, and then we like found those 2 people like very last minute.
That's the kind of thing you got to do to rise above everybody else.
Yeah.
Now, is this the same tour where you were on? Was it Chris Rock's private jet? Was that part of this thing?
That was his tour. That ain't my tour. It's like Sprinter vans and fucking Howard Johnson.
And that was when he was putting together the tambourine special.
Yes. It was a little bit of a bigger budget tour than my tour. I'm flattered.
Wasn't it like Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle and Eric Andre all on a private jet together?
I wasn't on the private jet with Dave, but I just opened a couple shows here and there for Chris, and then Dave would pop in like random cities and stuff like that. But like my last time opening for Chris was our 4th show in New Orleans, and I bombed so hard, harder than I have in like years. Just like
in front of how many people?
Bugs splat against the window. Probably 3,500 people.
Wow. More upsetting to have Chris Rock witness that, or 3,500 people from New Orleans?
A little bit of both, but he was so sweet and supportive. He like hugged me afterwards. He was like, yes, that's awesome. And he goes, ask me what happened when Prince opened up for the Rolling Stones for the first time. I go, what happened? He goes, everyone booed Prince. They threw bottles at him. They were like, get him off the fucking stage. And he goes, ask me what happened last time I performed in London. I go, what happened? He goes, I fucking bombed. I fucking ate a bag of dick. He was like so sweet about it. And like him and his tour manager were like, don't worry about it. Bombing's awesome. They were really, really sweet and supportive.
How much time did he asked?
And then like a week later, he asked me to like open up for him in like Australia, and I had to film something and I couldn't. So he's always been like a really.
Now, when you say I had to film something, are you talking about this movie Bad Trip, which you made with our Jackass director Jeff Tremaine?
I can't remember. Maybe, probably. It feels like that was around the same time.
Is it safe to say that you are the single most completely butt-fucked by coronavirus individual in the world? Because you had this movie where it was Paramount did Bad Trip?
No, it was MGM.
Okay, MGM. And now, if I'm correct, knowing a little bit about the movie business, there's the budget of the movie, and then whatever the budget is for a given movie, the studio that makes it will spend more on what's called P&A, promotion and advertising, getting all the billboards out there, all the trailers, the commercials, right? And the movie studio, in your case, for this phenomenally incredible hidden camera prank movie called Bad Trip, they went ahead and spent all that P&A money, right? You had those trailers everywhere. Did you get the billboards up already too?
No, they didn't spend that much money. They definitely didn't spend as much or double the budget for
Not
P&A
more than the
for our-
budget, huh?
for our
Okay.
movie. I wish they did.
But dude, I
They
saw
were going
that.
with digital billboards.
I saw that fucking trailer, and it has to be the most genius, fucking dominating trailer ever.
Thanks, man.
And all this promotion's running, and then all of a sudden coronavirus shuts everything down. What, like 1 week before your movie was?
1 week before South by Southwest.
Oh,
It was the most like biblical punishment, excruciating emotional pain I've ever been through. But the saving grace is Netflix
Bought it.
Bought the movie, and they have 185 million subscriptions, and click of a button access. People, all around the world will have click of a button access to the movie. So I think that is the silver lining. But the beginning of my quarantine was unbelievably emotionally painful.
When I think of people who got fucked over by the coronavirus, I think of Motley Crue. They had a sold-out stadium tour, and I think of Eric Andre.
Yeah. I mean, there are also people who are dying and they're on ventilators having a lot worse than me and Motley Crue. I'll tell you that.
People on fucking respirators.
There's people out there that have it worse than me and Tommy Lee.
Touche. I'll give you that. That's I like that. Okay.
And the movie's going to be on Netflix, and Netflix is just an awesome platform. So I think that. And it takes the pressure off the box office and all that shit. So
but does it take the pressure off of you getting paid? I mean,
it takes the pressure off of me actually making any income after working on a movie for 6.5, 7 years.
Right.
Is that how long it took?
I mean, dude, this was quite a while. I mean, I don't know about 6 or 7 years, but you started.
We started the humble beginnings of developing the idea when we first started talking about it and started meeting Jeff was like beginning of 2014.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, man. And I mean, dude, and I didn't get to see the movie, but just that trailer blew me away, dude, with the blender.
Well, we're talking about having a drive-in movie theater premiere for it. So we would love to cordially invite you.
Cool, man.
Both of you. As our guests.
Thank you.
The Netflix business model is to buy something out entirely, right? Like there's no back end, there's no, right? You don't have any profit participation beyond. They just bought it out and Netflix owns it forever.
You want me to share screen? I'll pull up the contract. Let's have my lawyer on the podcast. Let's get the real nitty gritty inside baseball. Really get the audience's
dude. All this unintended humor.
Yeah,
this is unintended comedy. I'm scoring left and right. This is fucking great.
Good.
Yeah, speaking of fucking comedy, dude, like performing in a comedy club with you has been one of the more memorable things. Like I remember you doing a whole set where it was just like kicking over furniture.
Yeah, that's right.
Where was
with
this?
you and Bam at the Laugh
Bam
Factory,
was there
right?
too, and we were howling. We were having the best fun, the hardest we ever laughed in a comedy club. I forget if Eric went like through the audience kicking over furniture, or if he was just.
No, I was dragging the empty chairs onto the stage and just like acid dropping them like onto the stage like clunk. And they had nothing to do with the jokes. They were just making the audience completely uncomfortable.
Is that something you just did at the Laugh Factory, or is that what you do on tour?
No, I was just doing that in the moment. And the more Bam and Steve-O were laughing and the rest of the audience wasn't laughing, the more I was doing it. I was just like so appreciative of these guys I grew up watching, loving it. And the more I alienated the audience, the more they were the louder they were laughing. So it was like, they were like the two old guys from the Muppet Show, but they were like positive energy rather than the negative energy, just like up in the balcony, just like howling with laughter.
Dude, we were precisely up in the balcony, up to your left, man. I can't believe you remember it that well.
How long ago was that?
Fuck, that was...
it was a while, 8 years ago, maybe.
Yeah,
I saw you live when I was in high school, or maybe, no, in college with Ryan Dunn, and you guys played at this abandoned Winn-Dixie in Boynton Beach that they turned into a club called Orbits. And you were stapling underwear to your body, and you were doing human tequila shots, and Dunn was throwing up on stage, and it was like the most lawless show. Like people were just jumping on stage. Everybody came backstage afterwards. There was like complete lawlessness. It was so punk rock and exciting. It was one of the most memorable live shows I've ever seen. It was so
nice, man.
Experimental and awesome. And you were so
I was at that whole tour.
You had such a high pain tolerance that you could do that after
that entire tour
for decades.
Every radio interview, every ad, whatever, every promotion of that tour, I promised that I would be drunk and on drugs or your money back.
That's so good.
What was your drug of choice? It was nitrous, right? Or coke?
Not at that time. At that time, it was cocaine, ketamine, weed. Adderall wasn't really a thing yet at that point. You gotta understand, I'm pretty old.
My friend calls Adderall Diet Coke.
Okay, nice.
I love that.
Yeah, dude. When I think of you as well, I'll never forget that night at the Laugh Factory. But if there's one thing that you stand out in my mind, it's that you love birthdays more than, like, maybe even more than my fiance. And she fucking loves birthdays, but you make a big deal out of it every single year. Wow.
I guess I'm not religious, so I don't have any holidays except my own birth, which I guess is narcissistic, but I just like going out for my birthday. I used to have this little shithole. I used to live in this little shithole shoebox apartment in Hollywood on Santa Monica and Wilcox, like kind of by Vine, Santa Monica and Vine by the Army and Navy store. And it was total rat's nest. And I used to, when I first few years of the Eric Andre show, I was actually making money, and because I was like scraping by for, the first many years when I lived here. But then I started making money, but I still lived in the shithole shoebox. So I was saving up my money, but my birthday, I would splurge and get a bunch of camels and zebras and exotic animals and cram them into the driveway of my apartment building. And then we would get like illegal fireworks, and we would huff ether. Those were the best ones because I was like cramming my apartment full of people like a clown car and doing all these exotic drugs and partying with animals. We had a stripper that had a house arrest anklet on one year. Those were like, that was the glory days of the party. As the party expanded, it kind of just became like a fun regular party. But when it was
there's nothing regular about your birthday party. Every year it's a different theme. Every year it's a different theme. I still have in my closet one of these wigs. You had like these fancy wigs for everybody from one of your birthday parties I went to. But you just said about getting exotic animals. Did people yell at you for having exotic animals at your birthday party?
No,
Don't let my fiance hear that. She'll get very upset with you.
The neighbors were so like supportive. The camel would walk around, and the zebra, and you got to like hold the girls would love it because they got to pet the baby goats and pet the little bunnies, and like it was like a petting zoo, So
I mean, what's your budget on your birthday?
That's a great question Scott just asked, and I have a question for you. How good a sleep are you getting? How dope is your bed and pillow setup? Because I'll tell you, I'm a pillow guy. I got a closet full of pillows that would blow your mind. And I am passionate about my bed. I'm so glad I got my Helix mattress because ever since I did, my body feels better. I'm more rested. And this thing is amazing because at helixsleep.com, they've got a 2-minute quiz. You plug in your info and then they tell you what's the best mattress for you. And by God, they get it right because I can't say enough good things about my Helix mattress. And if you go to helixsleep.com/Stevo, you get up to $200 off of any mattress you want. And if you buy one, they include 2 free pillows. I told you I'm a pillow guy, and I'm telling you that Helix pillows are the greatest pillows I've ever slept with. So do yourself a favor. Go to helixsleep.com/Stevo. Take that 2-minute quiz and get yourself the best mattress in the world because you're going to thank me for it. Now, let's talk birthdays.
When I was doing those, I was probably dropping like $5,000 on like animals and I would get like clowns and stilt walkers and jugglers and fire breathers, and we had
and you lived in a small apartment.
Very small apartment. That was like the comedy of it. Like, how much shit and chaos can we cram in there? I had a DJ set up on top of my stove, and he accidentally turned the stove on, and his equipment caught on fire.
Oh shit!
And then my neighbor next door was pissed and started throwing glass bottles at people at the party. My second AD came in and ate like an entire plate of weed brownies, thinking they were regular brownies, and had like a really bad time. But also, the gate broke open, and just like drifters from the neighborhood started coming into my house. Those were the days. I miss those days.
Yeah, dude.
I got a question for you, Steve. At what point in your life, at what age did you start hating birthdays? Like, because at 23, 24, it's a party, and then 25, 26, like...
I can tell you exactly when.
Okay.
My 26th birthday. I was working in the circus as a circus clown. I showed up that day. I did not tell a single fucking person in the circus that it was my birthday. I just felt like it's not cool anymore, man. Not 26. Too old.
But what'd you do for your 25th birthday?
Too old to be psyched. My 25th birthday, I was
had the time of your life.
I was performing in a nightclub, like getting drunk and breathing fire and clown makeup, and I blacked out completely. But yeah, I just think birthdays make me older, and
got it.
And
you look for the amount of drugs and booze and toxins you put in your body. You look incredibly handsome, and you are aging gracefully. I mean, you look exactly like you have for the past 20 years. I do not get it. I have like 3 cocktails, and I just age like Eric Stoltz in that movie Mask.
Was that Rocky Dennis?
Yeah, Rocky Dennis. I'm like Rocky Dennis by the end of the night. You look gorgeous, Steve-O.
Well, thank you, man.
Nitrous has preservatives in it.
I think that's very kind and wonderful. I think you're
aging gracefully. You're a silver fox. You don't have silver hair, but I do. You're only going to look more handsome with time.
Well, thanks, man. Speaking, he just mentioned nitrous, and I remember, was it for your birthday one year? You were like, "Hey, Steve-O, man, like, how do I get a nitrous tank?" And then I think you called back and you were like, "Hey, was that like insensitive of me to ask?"
yeah. I was like, that was shitty.
Were you sober?
I was sober. Yeah. I was sober at the time. I wasn't offended
was like,
at all.
if anybody knows where to get the dentist tank, because I love that dentist grade nitrous, not the little whippets. When you get that fucking medical nitrous, that is like the champagne of beers.
Oh, what? There's different types of nitrous?
Yeah, there's the kind that you make actual whipped cream with. You get the little cartridges, and it's like pretty. It's not clean. It's pretty shitty. I think it's arguably got a lot to do with why my voice is such a piece of shit, because I did so much of that fucking unclean, shitty whippet nitrous. Then there's auto grade nitrous, which is even worse, and this is like the fucking tanks that they use to make the cars go super fast, and people will actually huff that, but that's the worst fucking thing in the world. And then there's what the dentist gives you. Now the dentist, when they give it to you, they'll mix it with oxygen, so that you're getting a real, like, kind of a mellow version. You're never going to pass out. But what he's talking about doing is just taking that dentist and just doing 100% nitrous just straight to the dome.
Oh,
you're like a nitrous sommelier, Steve.
And then right after I asked, I felt so guilty.
No, I didn't care. I didn't care one bit. I thought it was hilarious. And to this day, particularly with this new comedy special, we should tell everybody it's called Legalize Everything, and this fucking Eric Andre is out of his goddamn mind. It's insane. It's fantastic and hilarious. But largely, your new Netflix special is about your drug experiences. I mean, you're just coming in hot. You're like running through with the cocaine, the helmet, with the cocaine straws, and I got my
starting a hotmail with the ref or something.
yeah. I love the joke about I got my fucking crystal meth card, my medicinal crystal meth card. It's fucking genius. And you're talking about all the acid's your favorite drug, and it's I'm getting stoned with my mom, and at a certain point I gotta wonder, A, how much of that is true, like this enthusiasm for drugs, and B, do you ever get concerned that being so pro drug and pro taking drugs, if that's gonna have any kind of a detrimental effect,
I think there's a difference between drug use and drug abuse. And I think that
if you take crystal meth medicinally,
yes, exactly.
It made me think about
if it's clean from the doctors.
I want to get a service rattlesnake. Yeah.
No, I think I 100% smoked pot with my mom.
So that's a true story.
Acid used to be my favorite drug, but I actually think, honestly, coffee is my favorite drug.
Yeah.
Dude, I
That is
pound
the
it every
drug that-
show, man. I drink out of this little motherfucker.
I drink it every day. It's always good to me. I don't crash. It just makes me happy. It makes me
Oh,
creative.
dude, we never turned on
Coffee
the
out of
light.
all the drugs I've done is by far the best one. It's like just the most consistent, never lets you down.
Okay.
Coffee's the number one imported, exported drug in the world.
Do you have a cutoff
I
point?
believe it.
Like, is there a time of day that you won't drink coffee after?
I only do a cup or two in the morning because
Okay.
if I do it after lunch or if I do a lot of espresso, I can't sleep. I have too much on my mind. I'm too anxious.
What time do you smoke crystal meth?
The meth is around like 4:30.
Is it true that you bought an 8-ball of cocaine in New Orleans one time?
I think I changed that town to town. That 8-ball story where I ripped it and I was like, I think I just snorted drywall is actually from when I bought it off the streets in Costa Rica in this like touristy beach town from a shade ball dude. And I was with my ding dong friends and they were like, let's buy Coke off of Shady Magoo. And I was like, yeah, of course. That's a great idea. And I fucking ripped the line and I was like, that was 90% drywall, 10% baby laxative, sprinkle of Tylenol.
Yeah, I would expect that you would get good cocaine in Costa Rica. See, like for example,
best Coke I ever had was in Brazil.
Brazil, okay.
That was real Coke.
I heard the really, really good Coke is like blue, or it's like a different color than
it's like
white.
off white, like a little yellow.
Yeah, I never saw that in my, Cocaine Cowboys documentaries.
You ever did Coke in South America?
Dude, like, people will call me a bad person for sharing this, but anybody who's going to Mexico as a tourist, just a little piece of information for you. Every single fucking taxi driver in say Cancun or Acapulco, if you say, hey man, I want cocaine, they'll either have it under their seat in the taxi cab or they'll go to the taxi cab stand and just get it from the guy right there. But every single, maybe in all of Mexico, but definitely Cancun, every single taxi driver is also a cocaine dealer.
You did this in Mexico?
And for that matter, the cocaine is like really pretty fucking good, man. It's like powerful cocaine coming from these taxi guys. The prices are all over the place. But then, like, watch out when you're in the bathroom because the bathroom attendant guy, if he hears you snorting in the bathroom, these little fuck motherfuckers will like climb over or under, and they'll grab you, and then you got to bribe them to get out of it.
Ooh, that sucks.
Yeah, that happened to us. We might have even been in Costa Rica. We had that same thing happen to us.
But buying drywall?
Did they come over or under?
I can't remember.
How old were you when you first got high, Steve? Were you doing drugs since you were like 12?
No. First time smoking pot, 16.
What about your first time drunk?
First time drunk? I've been like on my own initiative. I was 12.
What about you, Eric? First time doing acid?
Acid, not till I was like 21. But drunk, we would get not 40 ounces because they were illegal in Florida. We would get quarts of Old English for St. Special Brew. We would listen. I had a mixtape with all these different Eazy-E songs on it. And we were listening to Eazy-E on our Walkman or CD Discman and skateboard poorly and drink quarts of Old English until we threw up. That was like in Plantation and Fort Lauderdale and Hollywood. And like I had like my Alien Workshop skateboard. I couldn't even ollie. And I would just like drink and listen to Easy Does It until I fucking puked. Like rainbow colored St. Special Brew. We drink like Mad Dog 2020 and like wine coolers.
Natty Ice.
It's so gross.
So growing up in Boca Raton, were you like, were your parents well off? Like, you think of Boca Raton as like a wealthy community?
Yeah, my parents were fun. I mean, my dad's a psychiatrist. My mom she like tutored old people computers. My dad would have been better off. My dad's like not great with money. He's like very Caribbean. Like he gambles and he like plays like the lottery and like he just like always squandered his dough. So I was never starving, but I wish that he handled his finances a little
Are
bit
your
better.
parents still together?
No, they got divorced when I was like 12, 13, but
Oh,
they're
okay.
still friends. They still live up the street from each other. And they like get along better now than when they were married, I feel like. You know what I mean? They still, like, my mom goes over to my dad's house all the time. They're like pals.
You mentioned Fort Lauderdale. Did you ever go to the Fort Lauderdale swap shop?
I never did the swap shop. I think I was too young. I didn't have access to the swap shop.
It's the world's largest flea market / amusement park / circus. And that's where I was a clown.
Yeah, what years were you a clown there? 96, 97?
Only in year 2000.
2000?
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk like, Jackass and shit. When I say talk Jackass, I mean working with the Jackass director Jeff Tremaine. You developed that whole Bad Trip movie, right? What's your take on working with Jeff Tremaine? I mean, for us, making Jackass movies, I think we would all agree that he's a bad person, putting us in harm's way. He's kind of an evil sort of a dude, he's like always like just looking for terrible things to happen to us. But your experience is probably a little bit different. Like, what's your take on the guy?
Yeah, he is. Jeff is the prank master. He kind of knows exactly like what will yield the highest results, and he kind of had to steer me in the direction of the marks are the stars. He's like, you think, oh, I'm a comedian, I'm gonna get the laugh in the scene, but like you're engineering these pranks to get the marks will have like the biggest laughs in the screening. And when we did those first couple test screenings, I was like, holy shit, you're right. We went into the reshoots engineering we were like fine-tuning the pranks to get the marks really riled up and invested in the situation. So he was really like a mentor, father figure to me throughout the whole process, because I was coming just in from Eric Andre's show where we didn't have to worry about story. None of the pranks make any fucking sense. It's just like a nonsense punk rock, bang, 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 quarter-hour absurdist Adult Swim show. But he was very much like, the story has to be grounded and the character has to be likable and relatable, and like the pranks have to function like scenes. So he was really like my Obi-Wan Kenobi all through the process.
He is a fucking genius, man.
I appreciate Jeff.
He is. I mean, dude, there's a reason why he's so damn successful, is because he's really that talented. I hate to say it. I hate to say it, but he's that fucking
But
good.
he told me that he gives it to you guys way worse. He's like, because the more you guys are tortured and punished, the better the edit is. It wasn't quite the same thing for our movie like Jackass, where we're getting attacked by pythons and bulls and getting tasered and shit like that. You know what I mean? You do pranks and stunts, whereas we were just doing pranks.
You said something interesting. We said when we went into reshoots, does that change the direction of the story? Because the story is based on how the pranks go. So you sort of...
The reshoots gelled all the story together. It was like all the gaps and the holes got filled up by the material we got in the reshoots.
When did Tiffany Haddish come into it?
Pretty much from the beginning of production. So the first day we shot, Rel and I got a knife pulled out on us. We went into this barbershop in the hood with our dicks stuck in a Chinese finger trap. And we went into the barbershop and we were like, hey man, you got any scissors? Get us out of this Chinese finger trap. And this barber dude was like, oh, hell no. And he started looking for his gun. Couldn't find his gun, grabbed his knife. We ran out. Me and Rel are like conjoined at the dick so he can barely run. Guy's like fucking chasing us with a knife. I forget my safe word. My safe word's popcorn. So I'm looking at Jeff and the first AD and my director. I'm like, goosebumps, goosebumps, goosebumps. My adrenaline's so high, I forget my own safe word, which is popcorn. I start shouting goosebumps. Then I'm like, I look at our security guard. I go, I'm sorry, popcorn. He jumps out, grabs the guy with a knife. hey man, sorry, you're on a hidden camera show. And the guy with the knife was like, oh man, y'all are hilarious, dude. When's this shit come out? And then he's like, you shouldn't be doing these pranks in this neighborhood. He's like, you're lucky I didn't bring my gun to work.
Damn.
So because of that, so to answer your question, because of that, Rel almost quit. He never did hidden camera pranks before. He goes, you guys are going to get me fucking killed. I'm fucking over this shit. I got kids. I cannot be murdered. I'm done. He went home. We thought we lost Rel. He called Tiffany Haddish because they're good friends. He's like, I'm doing this fucking Eric Andre movie. We had a knife pulled out of me. This guy's going to get me killed. Tiffany starts like dying laughing. 5 minutes later, she calls me and she goes, yo, you almost got Rel killed at work today? I go, yeah. And then she goes, yo, I want to be in your movie. And I was like, all right. And the girl that, the woman that played her Rel's sister in the movie just dropped out. So I was like, Tiffany, we actually have an available, there's only 4 cast members and one just dropped out. So like, it was just the universe providing us with Tiffany Haddish, one of the most talented comedians in the world.
Dude, I've done comedy with Tiffany Haddish. I got footage of her bringing me up on stage at the Laugh Factory from 2006. Like, I mean, dude. And
it was like your first time on stage or second time or something, right?
Right. It was, I mean, it's just like way back in the day, and she's just always been so supportive of me doing my stand-up and giving me tags and jokes. I remember I had this joke about how I jack off so much that my dick is like off to an angle because I've been pushing it that way. Because I'm right-handed, my dick goes that way. And I remember Tiffany says, she goes, oh, when you do that, you say, my dick's like a Beyonce song. To the left, you know?
Yeah.
Steve, when you guys were filming, did you ever have safe words or things like that?
Yeah, there's like Oklahoma. I forget when we electrocuted my balls, what the safe word was. I don't think it serves me to have a safe word. Like,
you ever used a safe word?
Yeah, when they were electrocuting my balls.
You actually said...
I said it too quick. I shouldn't have fucking had a safe word. That's the problem with safe words. They ruin the bit. Yeah.
I went back and watched a bunch of old Wild Boys, and I think that's fucking scarier than anything almost in Jackass. I was like, you're fucking with great white sharks?
Yeah.
And gorillas and silverback gorillas and gators? You're fucking out of your mind. And bears?
There's a YouTube
How did you not
video.
get fucking killed? How did you not get injured by those fucking predators?
There's a YouTube video that we're getting ready to put together called Times I Could Have Died. And there's like not one Jackass scene in it. It's all Wild Boys.
Yeah, fuck. What animal are you scared of the most?
Is there any one in particular? I already get catching up heat for talking about myself the whole podcast. Stop it.
No. I want to know because Jeff told me what he thinks is the scariest animal. He said there's only one animal he'll never work with again or something like that.
Was
like
it
the scariest one. I want to see if it's the same one for you.
He's probably going to say the wombat, right?
No, he said the wombat was gnarly, but he said chimpanzees He's like, don't want to fuck with them.
Sure.
They rip off your genitals, they rip out your eyes, they chew off your fingers, and then they continue to attack you.
Oh, the chimpanzees?
Right. But he's not saying that based on any experiences that we had ourselves. He's basing that on like shit you read in the news, where they totally rip off your face and your dick and eat it, and not necessarily.
Yeah, like that old guy brought a cake into the zoo, and the other chimps got jealous and ripped off his dick and fucking tore his arms off.
Yeah. Yeah,
I think that's what he was talking about.
I don't remember us having experience with chimpanzees.
What's with the wombat?
It was just the angriest one, you know. It's a marsupial, the wombat. It was in. I feel like we were in Tasmania, and it was just the fucking angriest, most aggressive, just fucking pissed off creature that we ever encountered.
Isn't that a Tasmanian devil?
Didn't you burn an entire village in South Africa down the first day of shooting, and then Pontius like jumped in a hut and saved 2 German journalists or something incredibly insane?
Oh, dude, when I remember. I was confusing the stories, but yeah, it was British journalists. We were in South Africa. We burned down 3 cabins, and once we realized we couldn't put it out, we're breaking all these windows and everything. Get everybody get out. We're all like bloodied from smashing windows, and we did save the lives of the 2 journalists, and they did write an article about us being heroes who saved their lives.
But you caused the fire.
That just reminded me of when we were at Tony Hawk's 50th birthday party, and you came over and you were like, dude, tell me the story about the Wu-Tang Clan.
Oh, yeah, dude, Talib Kweli brought up that story when he interviewed me the other day.
Amazing.
That story just goes around. It just like makes world tours over and over.
I know, dude, and I'm never look good in that story, dude.
What's the story?
It was okay. It was 2006, the Rock the Bells Festival, which is like a big rap festival headlined by the Wu-Tang Clan. And I show up, I'm just drinking all day, I'm out of my mind, and I've just recently dialed in. You know, I do the double back where I'm flip back and forth, and it's a mangina. But I just got dialed in the double back flip. So I'll flip my balls into a mangina and then do a standing back flip.
Yeah.
And like, so they're gonna have an ODB tribute. This 3 years after ODB died. 2 years, and I go up to Method Man. I'm like, dude, I got it. During the ODB tribute, I'm going to get butt naked. I'm going to flip my balls back. I'm going to do a standing back flip. And he's like laughing. He's like, you know. And then a little while later, he comes up and goes, dude, you can't do it, man. They're going to fuck you up. And I go, cool, man. That's what ODB would want, dude. He'd love that. Yeah, fucking rad. So, like, during the ODB tribute, like, I remember Method Man wasn't so sure, but then he just hands me the mic. So I'm like, hey. So I address this crowd of like, this is a huge outdoor festival. There's so many people, and I address this crowd. I'm like, I'm like, I was in, protective custody in L.A. County Jail facing 8 years in prison, and they told me that I was in ODB's cell because he was in there so much of the time. So I feel this connection to ODB, and in his honor right now, I just get butt naked, I do my trick, I hug ODB's mom, right? Like after doing it, they start playing Brooklyn Zoo, you know, like a couple of big ODB hits. And like a couple tunes after the fact, all of a sudden, Raekwon just he's had enough. And he comes over and he stops everything, grabs me up by my neck. He says, you're going to apologize or I'm going to fuck you up in front of all these people. And I don't care if I'm going to jail. Like our brother wasn't here to defend himself from that. You know,
whoa,
and I'm like,
and
he's got me by the neck, and I'm like, I'm sorry. It's like, I'm so sorry. You know, and then I apologized, and he let me go, and the concert resumed, and someone came up to us and said, hey, it's not safe for you to be here. You know, you guys. So they had they escorted us
he
away.
did that in front of everybody.
Oh, on stage in front of everybody, and I have the footage.
Yeah, I've seen the footage.
way!
I've been dying to make this video.
See?
I have the
You
footage.
have to post it.
Oh
You
my
have to
I
post
know.
it.
What I need to do is get get someone from maybe Raekwon. I don't know. Maybe
Have you talked to him
maybe.
since?
I saw RZA at something, and I just went up to him and I said, "Hey, RZA, like."
Holy
I want to
shit.
acknowledge that, that, like, to the extent that was disrespectful, man, like, I want to acknowledge that was wrong. And
Nah, fuck that. You should have doubled down and did it again.
well, no,
I'm so sick of public apologies. Just be like, hey, I was drunk. I was having a good time. ODB had a sense of humor. Sorry, Raekwon
I mean, dude,
didn't.
to be fair, there was one time I did a show with ODB before he died, and it was at this like Hammerstein Ballroom in New York City, and like there are all these different rooms with shows going on. I go into ODB. ODB was on stage smoking a big blunt of pure PCP. And I know it was pure PCP because he said so, and he was sharing it with the audience members. I pulled out my little camera, and I have this footage too to this day.
Moly.
I have this footage of him, and like he's rapping. Like there's all these different little clips that I shot on this thing, right? He's smoking the PCP. Then next thing you know, and by the way, he's rapping with his fucking pants down around his ankles. His cock and balls completely out, totally out, and he was uncircumcised. I could tell you that because I saw, you know.
He had an anteater.
He had an anteater, yeah. And he's smoking this PCP. He ends up sitting on the drum riser. He's not even rapping anymore. And then like he just slumps over and passes out. And I got footage of him like that too. Yeah, still holding the blunt. And he's just like, it's like almost like time lapse of him just like.
Where was this?
In New York.
New York?
In New York in 2003.
And was he on stage by himself?
He was, dude, he had a bunch of, like, his crew on stage and shit, yeah.
Do you have any Wu-Tang stories, Eric? Like that?
Nothing as close to the power of those.
You got any PCP stories?
Did you ever do PCP?
I smoked PCP when I was 13, I think by accident. Like I had like they called it Cloud 9, like a joint dipped in embalming fluid. And it was one of the first times I ever smoked pot. And I was like, man, weed is crazy. And everything was like 8-bit. And then like years of smoking weed after through high school, I was like, oh, that wasn't weed at all. But it was like my second or third time smoking weed. So nice. I went up to the RZA at a party one time. And I was all drunk and embarrassed myself and rapped like 6 Bobby Digital songs like in his face. And I was like, I'm such a fan. And he was like, oh, okay, that's enough. But like that story pales in comparison to the power of both Steve-O's ODB stories. The one while he's alive and the one after he's alive. I don't think that was that disrespectful. I think those guys are just old school. You meant... Your intentions were good, and you were coming.
I think that's right. RZA said not to worry about it. He had never taken it personally. He wasn't offended.
Also,
at the time,
Raekwon was supposedly the grouch of the group, and Raekwon almost left Wu-Tang, and Raekwon and RZA beefed for a long time. So he's kind of like the controversial member of the group. I don't think the other guys would have done that to you.
What was disrespectful about it? That you were naked hugging his mom?
I think I put my clothes back on before I hugged his mom.
Okay.
To be fair, I don't think I was that bad.
I think he wanted like a sincere, earnest moment. And he's from like the projects of Staten Island. And he just sees a naked drunk Steve-O flipping around. And he's like, what the fuck is going on right now?
Right,
he wanted to have like a sincere, like a sober, humble moment.
And in my defense,
his emotions are valid too. But if I saw that, if I was dead and somebody was flipping around naked in my honor, I would be flattered.
In my defense, I fucking nailed that shit, dude. How clean was the landing on that flip, Paul?
The landing it's good. It's clean. Yeah.
Can you post that video? Why won't you post it?
I could. I just like I'm sensitive to the fact of it being like I would want the blessing of the Wu-Tang, I would. No,
you got to put it out. Okay, blessing.
I kind of want that. I kind of think also just with my producer hat on that the story's kind of better without just me telling it, but like to get. Like maybe Raekwon, his version of it. Like it would be really pretty compelling if it was a little bit of a group effort.
Yeah, we got to do it justice.
It's an intense story, dude. It's been on my whiteboard for a long time with different names.
Where do you live? Where do you live?
I live by Lake Hollywood.
What's your address?
Yeah, we want to get your address and his social while you're at it.
You show us that contract. I'll give you my address.
If you reached out to Raekwon, you were like, "Yo, what up? Hit me up." Would he be like, "Oh, he wants to talk to me about that"? Like,
it would be obvious, and I've seen interviews where Raekwon was talking about it, and like he, carries a grudge about it. Like he's not fucking stoked, and like I would love it if there was a way to tell the story. I mean, I don't need to look good in it. I don't like care. Like I was completely, humiliated, and I'm okay with that. But I'd love it if we could bury the hatchet.
I think fan the flames of hatred. I want to blood.
Yeah,
I want to throw
he's
gas
got the
on
Jeff
the
Tremaine
fire.
hat on over here, dude.
Yeah, Yeah, reach out to him, have him like calm down.
Let's
then do,
prank
like,
him.
a Q&A to camera, and then prank him. Come out behind him with your balls, like with the mangina, like right behind his like head, and like tap him on the shoulder with like your erect penis, like throbbing veiny boner.
Not gonna happen.
And, like-
I'm on a spiritual path, Eric. Speaking of which, meditation, dude. I'm on this crazy run of like over 180 straight days, averaging over 40 minutes of meditation every day. I love
Nice.
it. That guy, you're still
How do you
going.
feel?
I mean, yeah, I think that it benefits me immensely. It's hard to say
100%.
how.
Me too. Twice a day, every day.
Yeah.
For how long have you done that for?
Since 2000, since Eric Andre show started, since 2012.
Jesus.
There's something very, very correlated, right? There's between people who begin meditating and then all of a sudden are wildly successful, like Eric Andre here. Like it's right when you started meditating, you're
The next day.
What?
right.
That's when I got into the Illuminati. No, I just like calmed. I chilled the fuck out a little bit. I was very, very
That's hilarious.
anxious. I have a lot of anxiety. So,
And this is Eric Andre chilled out.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, not to say you
Bukkake
now,
time. He chills out and watches a bukkake.
Oh, dude. And it's not chill on Instagram, dude. I remember, have I not sent you texts before where I'm like, yo, dude, you can't show your dick on Instagram, dude. Like, delete that shit before they fucking take your account down.
No, you've always been supportive of my dick on Instagram.
Not on Instagram, dude. I feel like I remember thinking, like, dude, you can't do that, Eric. You know, like, you're going to lose your
No,
account.
never. You've never. That's
Sound like a real Raekwon right now, Steve.
I thought if I didn't actually send it to you, then I
thought about it and wrote it on my notepad.
Have you ever gotten in trouble? You've got to have had dick pics taken down off Instagram.
Yeah, they always take them down, you know, but I always put them up. I just put them back up.
Yeah, dude. He's meditating. It's all good, dude.
Right, and so I mean, this is everybody's chance to get your next dick pic by following Eric fucking Andre. Fantastic.
Yep, on Instagram. Yep.
Is
I'm
there a
on
release
MySpace,
date?
I'm on LinkedIn.
Is there a release date for the Netflix, for the TV, for the movie?
Bad trip.
No, we don't have a date yet. Pressure Netflix to give us a date. We keep asking them, but I honestly think they're like watching if my special does well or not before they give us a date. But that could be me being paranoid. But
I think that these are different branches of Netflix.
Yeah,
you know, I'd say Netflix is like a big octopus, and I don't even think that I think it's apples and oranges. But I mean, your Netflix special is fantastic, and everybody should watch it right now if they haven't already. But
thank you.
I think that's a different deal.
Wasn't there a thing on Wild Boys where you got your dick sucked by an octopus and S&P wouldn't let you show it?
Okay,
Because they have a little beak. The octopus.
Right, we didn't get our dick sucked, but there was definitely octopuses with a beak, and but we didn't get our dick sucked. Well, we got our dicks sucked. Why am I telling this? I'm gonna
Did you get your dick
sucked
sucked by an animal?
No, by a Russian prostitute.
They called her the octopus. She had a beak.
I'm just going to tell Lux she can't listen to this episode. She doesn't like to hear these stories.
Just say Eric was talking about animals at his house and I didn't want you to hear it.
Yeah.
Right. But the thing with Wild Boys was that you know, it was a constant battle with the censors. It's called standards and practices. You know, like we would submit the episode, and then the censor board would watch it, and they would say, "Oh, you got to take this out. You got to take that out." So what we would do is we would deliberately film extra fucked up shit to include in the cut.
Red herring.
Red herring, exactly. So that when the censor says, "Oh, you know, take this time," oh, well, we gave you that. So on our last trip ever, we actually hired a couple Russian prostitutes to include in this polar bear skit where, you know, like we did with the pandas, we would do these different like montages in animal suits. And in what we submitted to standards and practices was a montage of polar bear activity, and in the montage was like a circle cut out for the dick coming out, and the polar bear's getting his dick sucked by a Russian prostitute. and sure enough, we got the notes back. Please cut out the blowjob in the.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Please air that next to the Raekwon footage, like intercut to.
Shit, dude.
Oh my god, dude! What the
Dude,
guy.
could you imagine if you pranked Raekwon after all that? Like, you reach out to him, like
Just a serious
you're like,
call.
extend the olive branch.
Well, it's crazy because the Wu-Tang Clan has just had like such a rebirth, you know, like they had their
documentary.
legit documentary, and then they had a whole scripted series. Like the Wu-Tang is arguably bigger than they've ever been before. So I wonder.
Didn't they have that? They had that album come out, and that Martin Shkreli bought
yeah,
it for like $1 million or something like that. Do you remember that?
Weird,
Is that kid
Yeah,
still
they
in
only put
jail?
out one CD.
the pharmaceutical guy? Yeah, he's still in jail.
And he owns the fucking latest Wu-Tang album, and nobody's heard it.
Something like that.
Jesus.
All right,
dude.
so everybody's gonna follow. It's Eric fucking Andre on Instagram. Is there any?
Yes, sir.
Do you do any YouTube activity or anything?
No YouTube. I have Twitter and Instagram.
Is Twitter also Eric fucking Andre?
Twitter's just Eric Andre.
Ah man,
Which came out first,
I know.
Eric Andre or Eric fucking Andre? Twitter or Instagram?
Twitter I had first, and then Instagram I had later.
Yeah,
And Eric
see,
Andre was
he
already
had the
taken
Twitter,
on
but
Instagram.
then he started meditating.
He fell in a better place.
And waste no time in watching your special. It's called Legalize Everything on Netflix right now. And stay
Yes.
tuned for Bad Trip coming out.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you,
dude.
guys.
Yeah, I love you, man.
I appreciate you. Hit me up, man. I'm coming over to watch that Raekwon footage. I'm not joking. Whether
love
you like
it.
it or
Funny,
not.
dude.
This was a real loosey-goosey one.
Yeah, you were
And
hilarious.
And if you don't let me watch that footage, I'm telling your wife to listen to this episode.
Oh,
For
shit.
sure.
All right, dude. We'll see you soon.
Holding you hostage.
Hey,
All right,
I
see you
love
guys.
brother.
Later,
Thank
dog.
you.
Later.
Later, guys. Bye bye.
I told you that shit was nuts, man. I was even nervous about putting it out unedited. I said, fuck it. And, you know, now that we're at the end of the episode, let me thank you for sticking around this long. And let me remind you that the Helix mattresses really are dope. So give it a shot. HelixSleep.com/Stevo and all of that stuff. Totally worth it. Please let Eric Andre know that you enjoyed the episode. And I'm telling you, it's some exciting things coming up. I'm really, really stoked. So thank you for being, like, on this wild ride with me. Fuck yeah. Let's go in.